Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cubs Sports Report, where we're about to go into the Chicago Cubs and how they won this series against the Atlanta Braves. But before we do that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see all of our videos on the GM Sports Report account. Um, so, with that being said, yeah, let's dive right into it. Cubs winning an impressive series against Atlanta Braves. For those of you who know, we struggle when we go to Atlanta. Um, I think for the most part, most Cubs fans know that. But for those who don't, I'll remind you when in 2023 the Cubs were making a push for the playoffs and Seiya Suzuki had a dropped fly ball, and that pretty much diminished our chances of making the playoffs. And just other failures that have happened in Atlanta in the past. We just haven't had a good track record there. So it was nice to see a series win. We won the series 2-1. And I'm just going to be going over the series game by game. We'll start with game one. We lost 4-1. It really wasn't. It was one of the most boring games of the season. I think I've watched. The offense did absolutely nothing. The pitching struggled. Um, just one of those games where we really struggled. And I was honestly really down after that game because I was like, here we go again. We're about to lose another series. We just came off losing another series, and I was starting to get a little negative there. But games 2 and 3 really turned my mindset around and made me happy. Game 2, we won 6-1. Cade Horton with just another fantastic start. I mean, it is absurd what Cade Horton is doing right now. I feel like I say the same thing every week, but it's just true. He just dominates every time he's out there. Was able to go 6 innings this time. They let him go up to 85 pitches, which was nice to see. Only gave up one earned run, and just fantastic like always. I can't wait to see what this guy does in postseason baseball. He has potential to have a historic ending to this season, have a historic second half of a season. So it'll be interesting to see how that closes out because he's probably got about 3 starts left till the end of the season. So we'll see how that transpires. Inside of game 2, also, we saw some good games from PCA and Matt Shaw. PCA had 2 hits and a couple walks, was good on the bases, had 2 RBIs, which was big. And then Matt Shaw, obviously, late in the game, had the big hit that broke the game open, made it 6-1. So shout out to those 2 guys on the offensive end for game 2. Dansby Swanson made a really nice play at shortstop. So, just a really good win, a good bounce back win after that terrible game 1 loss. So I was happy to see them bounce back. And then we go to game 3, and the Cubs win 3-2, which some people might be upset about, but I personally will take that every day of the week when you're going against a guy like Chris Sale. When I saw Chris Sale was starting, I was like, I don't feel too good about that. We struggle against lefties as is, let alone a guy like Chris Sale. So I didn't know what to expect. And I was happy that we were able to result that game in a win. Um, Guys like Carson Kelly had a home run. Nico Horner had 3 hits against Chris Sale, which was very impressive. Had some great plays on the bases as well. Nico Horner now starting to find himself in the batting title race. I think he's in 4th place or 5th place right now for batting average. Um, it'll be very interesting to see if he turns it on down the stretch and gets up there because Trey Turner's hurt right now, so he's staying put. And I think he's the leader right now with a 305 batting average, and I think Nico's right around 294 if I remember correctly. So Nico, he's been easily the most consistent player on this team all season long. His season has not been talked about enough. He's been fantastic. He's like that one guy you can always count on in the lineup, and we've needed that desperately at times. So, yeah, I'm going to give Nico his flowers because he deserves them, and I feel like we're not talking about his season enough, especially, we all know what he does on the defensive end, but this year on the offensive end, he's done a lot for us as well. So, shout out Nico Horner having a big game against Chris Sale. That was impressive. And then another thing I wanted to talk about with the game 3 win was how dominant the bullpen was once again. I mean, when I came into this season, I thought the bullpen was going to be the weakest part of our team. And at first, it looked like it might have been that way. But man, for majority of the season, this bullpen has been very impressive. And we look at a game like last night where we have 5 pitchers out of the bullpen, and they only give up 1 hit. It was Taylor Rogers, Porter Hodge, Caleb Thielbar, Brad Keller, and Andrew Kittredge. They all were nails. Shut down the Braves, gave up only 1 hit, no runs. That's just a fantastic job by that bullpen. And something to keep an eye out on now with Palencia's injury. Porter Hodge is starting to look good again. I know the first couple games back from injury, he was rough and he was getting hit up, but his last few appearances, he's looked really solid. So it'll be interesting to see if we start easing him more and more into high leverage situations. I was a guy coming into the season that thought Porter Hodge was going to be our closer this year. And, with injuries and Palencia taking over, obviously that changed, but it'll be very interesting to see how many more high leverage situations Porter Hodge will be in if he goes back into the sort of trust tree that Craig Counsell has. Um, Keller and Kittredge just have been fantastic their last 5 or so appearances. I mean, Keller, this man's been absolutely just insane since the All-Star break. For those of you who don't know, Brad Keller has pitched 21.1 innings, has had 26 strikeouts, has only given up 4 hits and has a .47 whip, and get this, a 0.00 ERA. This man has not given up a run since the All-Star break. So Brad Keller, all the credit he deserves. That dude has been fantastic. I know I've said multiple times I want him to be the closer when we play in the postseason. I trust him more than Palencia. I know I guess that's probably not as much of a hot take now as it was a few weeks ago when I was saying this, but I prefer seeing him over Palencia come postseason baseball because I think Brad Keller is fantastic. And then Kittredge, just a really solid veteran that the moment never seems too big for him. He's very calm, he's very relaxed, and he's ready to go at all times. So that's a great player to have. This bullpen has just been fantastic. Caleb Thielbar, what a season he's having. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I had never heard of Caleb Thielbar coming into the season, so I didn't expect much from him. Granted, he is kind of a lefty specialist to only go in there when he's facing lefties, but he does his job and he does it every time, and you can count on him. So just another great piece for this bullpen to have. I just can't believe how great this bullpen has been. Knock on wood, but I really hope that they can continue this down the stretch here because we're going to need every ounce of help we can get. So yeah, that pretty much is going to wrap up the series discussion. Great series win, like I said. Anytime you can go on the road and win a series, especially in a place like Atlanta where we struggled in the past, that's a great series win. So I'm very happy about that, and I'm hoping that this can move some more momentum as we move forward and or actually we play at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. So hopefully we have some momentum going and are able to win another series there, which I'm about to get into. But first, some big Cubs news has happened. Yesterday, Anthony Rizzo has announced his retirement after 14 seasons. Rizzo, just fan favorite in Chicago. He's a Chicago legend. His career, his resume is just fantastic. He's a 4-time Gold Glove winner with 1 Platinum Glove, 3-time All-Star, a Silver Slugger winner, and a Roberto Clemente Award winner. And finally, we mentioned that he helped lead the Cubs to a World Series, to help them win a World Series for the first time in 108 years, was a big part of that team. Obviously, we know the Rizzo movement that happened that season. And I mean, like I said, one of the most loved Cubs ever. And on top of that, some great news. He's going to be retiring as a Chicago Cub on Saturday, which I can't wait to see. Personally, Anthony Rizzo was one of my favorite Cubs ever. Especially as a guy, when I played baseball, I played first base. So I was always trying to be like Rizzo. I always wore 44 in travel ball and things like that to be like Rizzo. So he was one of my favorites growing up. So seeing him retire as a Cub is a very fun thing. And I can't wait to see it happen on Saturday. And I'm just really excited that he's going to get the flowers he deserves because he is, when you look back on that World Series team, he was like kind of like that consistent guy that always got the job done. You had Bryant, who was the superstar, and then you had Baez, who was the young flash that had the most potential. But then you had Rizzo, who was like the workhorse, the one that got the job done. And I just love Rizzo, such a great guy. He has a great story. For those of you who don't know, I recommend looking into his story. He's just a fantastic person all around. And the fact he's going to be retiring a Cub, it's only right. Am I right? Like, let me know down below what you guys think about Rizzo. What's your favorite Anthony Rizzo moment? Because I know we all have our favorite Rizzo moments, and it's just going to be a special day on Saturday. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right, now I want to go real quickly and give a series preview versus the Tampa Bay Rays. So the Tampa Bay Rays have had a very interesting season. They're 72 and 73, but they will go on these hot streaks where they win a lot of games at a time. They're 6-4 in their last 10. So they're playing some pretty good baseball in their last 10. And we're facing two of their three best pitchers, I'd say. The first game I expect to win. It's Shane Baz versus Matthew Boyd. I think with Boyd going out there, we should have a good shot at winning. I think you have to find a way to win when Boyd is pitching. And Shane Baz, he's good, but he hasn't, been that great. The next two games are where we face their better pitchers. Actually, their ace is who we face in the second game, and that is Drew Rasmussen. He's had a fantastic season, and he's going to be going against Colin Ray. So if I had to pick a game that the Cubs were going to lose, I think that would be the game I'd pick, just because they have a great pitcher going. And Colin Ray, you never really know what you're going to get. He's been solid for the most part this season, but he does have a couple stinkers here and there. So we'll see what happens with that. And then the finale of the series will be Adrian Hauser, who's a guy that I know a lot of Cubs fans wanted at the trade deadline, versus Shota Imanaga. So, anytime Imanaga goes out there and pitches, I want to see the Cubs win. I expect the Cubs to win. But, Imanaga has struggled his last couple starts, giving up a lot of home runs. But I'm hoping that he'll bounce back against a team like the Rays, and we'll be able to get a series win, winning 2 out of 3. Let me know down below your guys' predictions on who you think is going to win this series, how many games they're going to win the series by. Are they going to sweep? Are they just going to win 2-1? Or, let me know down below what you're thinking. I'm hoping for a 2-1 series win, and then we move on and play the Pirates, and then we'll go on from there. That's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching this episode of Cubs Sports Report. Like I said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see everything on the GM Sports Report channel. We have our weekly normal episode that Mason and I do on all things sports on Wednesdays. I know him and his cousin Cole are doing the New York Sports Report. And then, man, as rough as the Dolphins week 1 has been, I've been doing the Miami Sports Report for the Dolphins. And I guess go watch that video if you haven't. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great week, everybody. Go Cubs, go. And, shout out Cubs legend Anthony Rizzo. Thank you, everyone.